Most valuable coins do not look valuable at first, and that is exactly what makes these Washington quarters so dangerous to overlook. One small clue could change the whole story. Most people never lose sleep over a 1982 D quarter. They see it, hear the little metal sound, and move on. No silver. No dramatic old look. No obvious reason to care. And that is exactly why this coin is dangerous. Because some of the most overlooked coins are not the ones that look rare, they are the ones that look too normal to question. This 1982 D Washington quarter opens our video for one reason: it teaches a lesson every collector learns the hard way. If a coin feels ordinary enough, your eyes stop searching. And the second your eyes stop searching, that is when the real clue gets away. On the front of the coin, you will see George Washington facing left, with Liberty above, In God We Trust to the side, and the date 1982 below. Next to the date is the D mint mark, showing it was struck in Denver. On the reverse, you get the familiar eagle design that many people have seen so many times they stop looking at it carefully. That is the trap. Because the value story here is not about the design being rare. It is about whether your coin escaped the mint with something unusual that should never have happened. A normal 1982 D quarter is not the kind of coin that suddenly becomes a fortune just because it is old enough to feel interesting. If huge money is involved, something has to be different. Something has to be wrong in the right way. So the real question is not, do I have a 1982 D quarter? The real question is, do I have a 1982 D quarter that does not look, strike, weigh, or behave like a normal one? That is where you begin. First, look at the date and the mint mark. Do not glance at them. Study them. Look for unusual thickness, strange outlines, doubling, or odd shapes. If the D mint mark looks off, if the numbers seem to split or repeat in an unnatural way, that is your first signal to slow down. Then move to Washington's portrait. Watch the hair, the cheek, the jawline, and the neck. Collectors often get fooled here because scratches and wear can create false excitement. But a real mint-made feature behaves differently from damage. Damage cuts into the coin. A die crack, chip, or raised anomaly sits on top of it. That difference matters more than people think. Now turn the coin over and pay attention to the eagle. The wings, the chest, the arrows, the leaves, and the lettering can all reveal a strike problem. If one area looks weak while another looks sharp, if the design feels uneven, if the letters seem distorted, the coin starts asking better questions. And then comes one of the smartest checks any collector can do: weigh it. Because many people spend years staring at coins and ignore the one thing that can instantly expose something major. If the weight is off, if the thickness feels strange, if the edge looks wrong, then the quarter stops being ordinary. It becomes evidence. That does not automatically mean jackpot. But it absolutely means do not dismiss it. The biggest mistake people make with coins like this is emotional laziness. They either get excited too fast, or they ignore the coin too fast. The smart collector does neither. The smart collector compares, weighs, studies, and waits. And that is exactly why the 1982 D quarter had to be the first coin in this video. Not because it looks like the rarest coin in the room, but because it proves that the coin most people overlook can be the one that starts everything. So before you throw your next quarter aside, stop for a second. Check the mint mark. Check the date. Check the edge. Check the weight. Because if this first coin taught us anything, it is this. The coins that look harmless are often the ones that deserve the longest look. And the second coin in this video gets even more dangerous, because that one does not just hide in plain sight, it hides behind confidence. Here is where collectors get arrogant. By the time they reach a coin like the 1995 D quarter, many of them have already decided they know the ending. Modern quarter. Common date. Denver mint. Nothing special. Move on. That kind of thinking is exactly how important coins survive unnoticed. The 1995 D Washington quarter is the second coin in this video because it represents a different kind of danger. The first coin taught you not to ignore a normal-looking quarter. This coin teaches you something worse: even when you already know what you are looking at, you can still miss what matters. On the obverse, George Washington faces left with liberty above, in God we trust beside him, and the date 1995 below. The D mint mark sits near the date, confirming Denver. The reverse carries the standard eagle design that collectors know so well that many of them stop actually seeing it. And that is the problem. Familiarity can blind you faster than inexperience. Most people who miss a rare-looking coin do it because they are careless. Most people who miss a common-looking coin do it because they are overconfident. This quarter belongs to the second group. The real money story is not about the average 1995 D quarter sitting in pocket change. A normal example is not the reason someone whispers about five-figure or bigger possibilities. The real story begins only when the coin breaks the rules: the strike looks wrong, the edge behaves wrong, the weight feels wrong, the metal tone looks wrong, or the design reveals something the mint never intended. That is why this coin has to be handled like a suspect, not like a routine date. Start with the feeling of the coin itself. Not the year. Not the hype. The feel. Does it look unusually sharp? Unusually dull? Too coppery? Too thin? Too broad around the edge? Before your brain starts naming possibilities, let your eyes ask whether the coin feels normal. Many great finds start with that simple discomfort, the sense that something is just not matching the rest. Then go straight to the mint mark and date. The D mint mark on a modern quarter can still be the place where the story starts. If it shows distortion, unusual thickness, or anything that looks doubled in a way that rises from the surface instead of flattening across it, then you have your first reason not to dismiss the coin. From there, move through Washington's portrait slowly. Hair, forehead, cheek, jaw, neck, fields. Look for raised lines, lumps, chips, cracks, or interruptions. Do not confuse impact marks with mint-made features. Damage leaves scars. Mint errors leave evidence. Then turn the coin over and give the reverse the kind of attention most people never give it. The eagle is not just decoration here. It is a map of pressure, metal flow, and strike quality. Wings, chest, arrows, branches, legends. If one zone looks weak while another is strong, if details vanish where they should not vanish, if letters look oddly formed, then the quarter starts separating itself from the crowd. And then you do the thing many casual collectors skip completely: check the edge and the weight. That is where the fantasy ends and the investigation begins. Because a dramatic value story does not come from wishing. It comes from proof. If the quarter weighs differently from what it should, if the edge looks wrong, if the coin's color and thickness do not match what a normal clad quarter should look like, then now you are not just hoping. Now you are building a case. This is why the 1995 D is such a dangerous coin. It does not beg for attention. It waits for patience. And patience is rare. People want instant excitement. They want a giant mistake visible from across the room. But coins like this reward the opposite kind of collector, the one who studies the ordinary until the ordinary stops making sense. Never clean it. Never improve it. Never rub away the evidence that made it worth checking in the first place. If something feels off, store it safely, photograph it clearly, and keep the details intact. Because the 1995 D quarter is not the kind of coin that shocks careless people. It shocks the people who thought they were too experienced to be surprised. And the third coin in this video goes one step further, because that one does not just hide behind confidence, it hides behind routine. There is a special kind of coin that does not need rarity to become dangerous. It only needs routine. That is the best way to understand the 1997 P Washington quarter. This is not the coin most collectors would point at first. It is not old enough to feel historic. It is not silver enough to feel special. It is not dramatic enough to make someone stop mid-conversation. It is routine. And routine is where people stop paying attention. That is why this third coin matters. On the front, George Washington appears with the same design most people have seen for years, Liberty, Indiana, God We Trust, and the date 1997 with the P mint mark of Philadelphia. On the back, the classic eagle reverse returns once again, so familiar that most people barely let their eyes linger on it. And that is why this coin can slip past almost anyone. The value conversation here is not about a normal 1997 P quarter being magical by itself. It is about whether your coin shows one of the signs that transform routine into rarity. A strike that went wrong. A planchet that should never have been used. A missing layer. A serious off-center event. A weight that breaks the rules. A look that says, this coin should not exist like this. That is the real tension in this coin. Not the date. Not the design. The possibility that something hidden is sitting inside something forgettable. So this time, do not start the way most people do. Do not start with the date. Start with the overall face of the coin. Lay it beside another normal quarter if you can. Compare color. Compare thickness. Compare the brightness of the fields. Compare how the rim catches light. Compare whether the edge seems too broad or too narrow. This is one of the easiest ways to let the unusual reveal itself without forcing the answer. Then move to the mint mark and date. The P mint mark can still matter if it shows the wrong shape or strange raised form. The numbers in 1997 can matter if they show true separation or doubling that rises naturally from the surface. But the key is discipline. Not every weird shape is valuable. Not every unusual line is a rare event. What matters is consistency. Then study Washington's portrait like it is a photograph hiding a clue. Hair, forehead, cheek, jaw, neckline, and fields. Look for anything elevated that should not be there, anything broken that should be complete, anything repeated that should be singular. Now flip the coin over. This is where routine becomes dangerous. Because the reverse of a Washington quarter is so familiar that many people never really inspect it. They recognize it, and recognition replaces analysis. That is exactly what you cannot do here. Study the eagle's wings, breast, claws, arrows, leaves, and the surrounding inscriptions. Look for design weakness in isolated places, odd distortions in the lettering, or areas where the metal flow seems abnormal. Sometimes the reverse tells the truth long before the obverse does. Then comes the most important physical check, the edge and the weight. A coin can lie with its face. It struggles to lie with its mass. If a quarter does not weigh what a normal quarter should weigh, that is not a tiny detail, that is a red flag. If the color, edge, and weight all start telling the same story, then you are no longer guessing. You are investigating a real possibility. That is the lesson of the 1997 P quarter. This coin does not rely on age to impress you. It relies on your habits to betray you. Because most people spend routine coins without thought. Collectors who find big surprises in routine coins are the ones who refuse to let routine shut down their curiosity. And that is exactly why this quarter belongs in the third position of the video. By now, the viewer thinks they understand the pattern. Then this coin arrives and reminds them that the easiest coin to ignore can still become the hardest one to forget. Do not clean it. Do not polish it. Do not strip away the originality that might be carrying the very clue you need. Handle it carefully. Photograph it. Compare it. Weigh it. Because the 1997 P quarter is proof that ordinary appearance is one of the best disguises a valuable coin can wear. And now we come to the final coin, the one that closes the video not with comfort, but with pressure. Because the last quarter does not just ask you to check your change, it asks what else you may have already missed. The last coin in this video is the one I would trust the least. Not because it looks suspicious. Not because it looks glamorous. But because it looks like the kind of quarter people think they understand too quickly. The 1972 D Washington quarter does not arrive with silver-era drama. It does not carry the instant mystique of a Depression date rarity. It arrives with something far more deceptive: normality. And that is what makes it the perfect final coin. On the front, George Washington faces left with liberty above, "In God We Trust" at the side, and the date 1972 below. The D mint mark marks Denver. On the reverse, the eagle returns one more time, familiar, formal, and easy to dismiss. That familiarity is its camouflage. Because if the first 3 quarters in this video taught anything, it is that the most dangerous coin is often the one your brain files away too fast. The 1972 D lives in that exact territory. The normal version of this coin is not the reason collectors whisper about massive values. A standard piece, even with age and decent eye appeal, does not suddenly become a fortune. If truly huge money enters the conversation, there has to be a reason: a dramatic error, a planchet mistake, a strike that went badly wrong, or a condition story so extreme that the coin no longer belongs in the ordinary category. That is where this quarter gets serious. Because once you accept that the date alone is not enough, the real game begins. What should not be there? What should be there but is missing? What physical fact does the coin reveal that the eye alone might miss? Start with the date and mint mark, yes, but this time do it with suspicion. Look at the D mint mark for thickness, distortion, and shape. Look at 1972 for signs of notching, odd edges, or repeated forms. But do not let yourself get trapped in the usual, "maybe it is doubled" daydream too early. This final coin deserves a bigger level of attention than that. So after the date and mint mark, go straight to structure. Study the rim. Is it too broad anywhere? Too narrow? Does the coin feel centered? Does the edge look uniform? Is the reading normal? A quarter can expose its secret through the edge long before the rest of the design fully explains it. Then move through Washington's portrait. Hair, temple, cheek, jawline, and neck. Look for raised lines, cracks, chips, or anything that appears as part of the strike rather than part of the damage. The difference between surface injury and mint-made evidence becomes everything on a coin like this. Now flip it over and slow down. Do not just check the eagle. Interrogate it. Study the wings for weakness or distortion. Study the chest, arrows, and branches for missing or interrupted detail. Look at the lettering carefully. A true anomaly often leaves a pattern. It does not just appear as one random strange mark. It repeats the logic of a striking event. Something moved. Something failed. Something interrupted the pressure. Something changed the metal flow. If that story starts appearing on the reverse, now the coin becomes far more interesting. Then comes the most powerful test of all: weight. A coin may fool the eye. It has a harder time fooling a scale. If the weight is clearly off, if the size or edge feels wrong, if the color suggests the metal is not behaving like a standard clad quarter, then the coin is no longer just an old Washington quarter. It becomes a physical question that needs an answer. And that is what makes the 1972 D such a strong final coin. It closes the video with pressure. Because after 3 other quarters, the viewer wants certainty. They want the final coin to be obvious. Instead, this quarter forces the opposite lesson. Certainty is where collectors get lazy. Never clean it. Never brighten it. Never try to improve what you do not yet understand. If the coin feels wrong, protect it. Photograph it. Weigh it. Compare it. Because the 1972 D Washington quarter closes this set with the biggest warning of all. The coin that looks most ordinary may be the one that punishes your assumptions the hardest. Now go back through all 4 quarters from this video. Compare the dates. Compare the mint marks. Compare the rims, the edges, the strike quality, the color, and especially the weight. And then ask yourself one question. How many ordinary quarters have you already seen, and never truly looked at?